I created Message Monday for the people to give them a hope, to give them a smile, a laughter, a word of wisdom. I hope you enjoy this. Message Monday. It starts now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so glad you decided to start your Monday off with me because I decided to start my Monday off with you. And remember, we are turning our Mondays into Message Mondays, not miserable Mondays, not messy Mondays, but Message Mondays. Come on, somebody. And so our hot topic today is dating. Dating in the church, dating in the workplace, just dating. And I have quite a bit of experience in this area because I had lots of boyfriends, lots of frogs, guys, lots of frogs. And so, but they were experiences. There are things that I was taught. And so the scriptures that I'm going to be pulling from today is Matthew 22:39. And it says, "And he said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." And then I'm going to use as well 1 Corinthians 15:33. "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." And so the reason why I picked that is because I find often that we can become so convinced on needing companionship that we forget what we're supposed to do. The Bible says that we're supposed to love the Lord with all our heart. So how can you give your heart to someone before giving it to God? How can you give your life and your ability to live to someone before you've given it to God? It says with all our heart and with all our soul. So how can you have a soulmate if your soul hasn't been given to God first? How can you have a soulmate that is connected to you spirit to spirit if you haven't given that to God first? And then it says with our mind. So our thoughts, our heart and our soul must be towards God first. Before we look for companionship, before we look for dating, before we look for someone else to validate our value. Because that's what it is. We want to date because we need someone to tell us that we're beautiful. We need someone to tell us that we're loved. We need someone to tell us that we've got good ideas. We need someone to hold us and to coddle us and to be there with us because we don't have any value unless somebody is telling us that we're valuable. But we have to look to God to affirm our value. We have to look to God to affirm who we are. Dating is wonderful. It's a wonderful experience to have. But if you don't have any values, you don't have any standards, you don't have any morals that you want to put into your dating, then you're going to end up in several bad relationships because you keep going into relationships looking for standards, looking for values, looking for morals when you should go into your relationship with that already. I tell people all the time, don't go into a relationship looking to be someone's assignment. Go into a relationship looking to bring something to the table, bring some standard to the table, bring some morals to the table, bring some core values to the table. And so that brings up my Message Monday, and that is, are you in bad company? Because sometimes our morals and our values, they are diminished and they are devalued because of our surroundings, because of our company, because of what we are allowing people to say in our ears, because of what we are allowing people to tell us is good and what is bad, because we allow people to set our value, because we allow people to set our morals and our core values, then we end up ruining that moral because you got information from a bad seed. You got information from a bad tree. You got information from someone who was envious of you. You got information from someone who is jealous. You got information from someone who is single. You got information from someone who has not experienced relationship. And now you have allowed yourself to fall into sex. You have allowed yourself to fall into sin. You have allowed yourself to be devalued by the men that you are dating because you are not valuing yourself. My father used to tell me all the time, men can smell desperation from miles away. Until this day, I absolutely believe that is true, because a man is more inclined to want to be attached to the woman that will freely give her body without moral, without value, without any what's the word I'm looking for? Any appreciation. They will freely just lay their bodies down. They will lay their bodies down and they will give of themselves because they're looking for someone to validate their value. And so I want to be the person to tell you today that you are valuable with your legs closed. You are valuable whether he says you are or not. You are valuable whether she says you are or not. You are valuable because God, before the foundations of the world, decided to create you. And he fearfully and wonderfully made you. And so why would you allow someone to come into your life to detour you from what God said? You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You shouldn't want to be attached to someone whose heart, mind, and soul are not directed to God. Because our word clearly states that we are to love God with all our hearts, all our soul, and all our mind. So you need to be attaching yourself to people who are doing what the word says. You need to be attaching yourself to a man who says, oh no, I respect you. I honor that your body is a temple. I honor that you have a relationship with God, and I have a relationship with God as well. So we are both going to remain abstinent until God has given us the okay to enter into sexual relationship. Because the minute that you enter into a sexual relationship with someone that doesn't value your morals, the minute that you enter into a sexual relationship with someone that doesn't appreciate or respect you and what you stand for, you connect yourself in a soul tie. And then you connect yourself in not just a soul tie with the person you're sleeping with, but you connect yourself in a soul tie with every person they slept with. And so now you're depressed and you don't know why. You used to be just the happiest person in the world, and now you're depressed and now you're hurting and you've got suicidal thoughts and all of these things are coming in your life because you have had sex not just with that person, but with the spirits that they had sex with their other partners. And so soul ties are not just dangerous because of the one-and-one connection, but it is because you are having sex with a lot of other women that devalue themselves. You're having sex with a lot of other women that did not appreciate themselves. And so until you value you, no one else can. Until you make a stand to say, I'm not going to connect myself in a soul tie with someone who hasn't disconnected their soul ties. Because a lot of times they haven't even severed their soul ties. That's a whole different message for a different Monday. But right now, I am declaring over your life that you would begin to have morals, that you would begin to have values, that you would begin to have standards, that you wouldn't date for fun, but that you would date for purpose, that you would not allow not one more person to devalue or to de-appreciate you, that you would begin to appraise yourself, that you would begin to appraise yourself, and that you would begin to love yourself and to love God, and that you would be so hidden in God that a man or a woman has to find God in order to find you. If he says, I love you, then he should be able to wait. If he says, I respect you, then he should be able to respect what you stand on. And if he can't do that, he's not the one for you. And so I pray that you look with a discerning eye, and that you look with your spirit, and you try it by the Spirit, so that you don't consistently get hurt and get broken because of what you put yourself into. And so that's how I feel about dating. And so I pray that prayer seeps within you, that you go through this week making sure that you evaluate your company, and that you evaluate yourself and appraise yourself and value yourself. And so until next week, I'm loving you, so you do the same.